I don't see how it'd be possible. Have you seen Matthew Bright's Bundy movie?
I have.
The guy
I've
who
seen
directed
like every
Freeway.
Bundy movie out there.
It's like really irreverent, like kind of like Freeway was, the director's other movie with Reese Witherspoon, but it's so fucking whacked out and irreverent that, you know, it's almost like I remember I had a t-shirt, I don't know how I got it, but it was like a production t-shirt, and it looked like it was a black t-shirt, like a heavy metal tour t-shirt, except on the back with the tour dates, it had the victims' dates, so they're the murders, and like what city it was. So it looked like the tour shirt, except it was the murders on the back. That's like how irreverent that production was. And I'd like to do something, be able to be like that, irreverent, and do something that whacked out, especially with Breivik, you know, in Norway. He wrote his manifesto, and he laid it all out. So there's like so much good material there. And he was a smart guy. Or a Timothy McVeigh movie. I'd love to do a Timothy McVeigh movie. Nobody's done a McVeigh movie. Why do you think that is? They did a Boston Bombers movie.
It's weird. I don't know, man. I think it was such a national story. But then again, like you said, they did a Boston Bombers movie, so I don't know.
They've done 9/11 movie, Paul Greengrass's, you know.
They have.
They did 9/11 movie. I think all their
there's
a
lot of
too.
hypocrisy in filmmaking, I think. I think you know that, though.
Yeah. I think about that, you know, but I mean, I'd love to make a McVeigh movie, you know. I think, I don't know. You know, not like I agree with the ideologies that much, but I remember the early 90s, like, especially when McVeigh, you know, when all that happened, like when they were thinking about everybody was scared that guns would get taken away, and it was just in the gun shows back then, like I just turned 21, so, you know, I bought my first guns, and we were building fucking AR-15s, like, and we, you know, it was all crazy in Gainesville back then, fuck. But, like, these guys I remember it was in High Springs, so it's like a little town just like 20 minutes outside of Gainesville. This dude had a little shop there, a little gun shop. This man was so scared of the government, like in probably 93, early 90s, right around the time of the Oklahoma bombing, that you could bring him in a gun with a filed off serial number, and he'd straight up buy it, not even care, and he'd go bury it somewhere. Like the man probably had fucking hundreds of guns buried somewhere. He was that fucking terrified of the government, you know, in Waco and all that happened. I think that'd be a great story. I think that's a good movie that can be made, but that's really weird nobody's made it. I think maybe because Tim McVeigh was an American, you know, and his motivations were almost patriotic. They weren't hateful so much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it would be a divisive movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas everybody, I don't know. I think people are just too scared to touch it. I mean, but honestly, and this is what I worry about for you. You always talk about if you had a budget and things like that, production company. Nobody wants to do anything that is dangerous anymore as far as filmmaking goes, unless it's very low micro budget. You know.
I know, man. That's the political correctness. For a little bit there, I was like really excited. Like probably around the time I made horror, I was thinking, okay, people are talking, you know, we're going to be able to, and it's like it's imploded on itself. Now the political correctness is so fucking pervasive on social media and everything that it's going to be hard to do anything a little bit controversial without just people just being stupid about it, not thinking. I mean, I thought people would be more open-minded, you know, with the internet and everybody connected and talking and everything. And I was wrong, man. People, like, especially this last election and the political cycle and everything, so you can tell people they don't even care. They just want to fight. It's like football teams or my football team versus your football team. It doesn't matter. It's just, I hate political correctness, dude. That scares me so much, you know, especially like the racial stuff going on right now. I think is really not like have you author named Joe Lansdale? Are you familiar with Joe Lansdale?
I know the name. It doesn't ring a bell though offhand. Beyond that,
you remember the old splatterpunk authors, bunch of splatterpunk authors in the late '80s or '90s. He was one of the big ones from Texas. And he did books called The Drive-In, and lately he's had a TV show on Sundance called Hap and Leonard about a gay black guy and a white guy that are best friends, and they kind of go do crime stuff, or they like little detectives or whatever. But the books were cool, but they're about race. Like, they're about race relations and about like racist people and non-racist people and stuff like that. And there's a couple of his books I want to do, and I tried to. That was probably 10 years ago. I did a short. I was going to give him money to get the rights for my shorts and do it, but just the language and everything, it gets people so much. It's just they can't think right. Like I wrote this. Me and Audra wrote this fucking awesome script. It's like horror, the movie, kind of like we did a fucking great script. It's about like if this main character, his girlfriend gets killed with an overdose, like an obviously like hot shot overdose. So he goes through the gangs, kind of from the street level dealers up to the top, trying to find out who kills her, and figures out it was the cops were involved or whatever. So it was a great script. And I'm showing it to some of the people I know in town are legit producer people that want to talk to me. Or I don't think I showed him the script. I think I just like told him the story. And I was like, so, he goes to the north side of town, the ghetto, and starts to, go to street dealers and gets that guy, and then finds out who he's getting it from and goes to the next guy. And they're black. It's a black gang, So the two people I show it to, their first fucking thing out of their fucking mouth is, we need to make the gang more multi-ethnic. And it's like, dude, let's get in the car and drive to the north side, and you tell me how many rainbow gangs you see selling crack on the side of the fucking street. It's not. Maybe it's going to be all Mexican crew or all black crew or something, but you're not going to have like some multi-ethnical fucking, that's just not reality at all. But that was like the first, and that bummed me out. So then I was like, all right, I'm not even going to show this script to anybody else. I'll wait till I have $200,000 of my own money, and I'll shoot it myself. Fuck, man. Like, that's not even a fight I want to have to fight. Like, I think that's a fight you can really have, like even Quentin Tarantino does something, says fucking nigger in it and hateful eight or whatever a bunch of times and stuff, and he has issues, or this doesn't make any fucking sense, man. It's like the people expect you to make a movie, and your movie should be on the reality that they wish it could be, the world could be like, and it's, if you start to tell a story about some guy that's fucking racist, then that means you're a racist as an artist suddenly, or you're a white guy, so you can't say the right dialogue where this guy says nigger, or a black guy says nigger to another guy, which is like so fucking ridiculous, dude. It's like,
yeah, it's like if you tell a story. If you tell a true story and you make it exactly how the story is, you're the asshole for telling the story the way it was told or the way it happened.
I mean, it'd be like if somebody made a movie about like Vietnam right now, and the main character, Justin Bieber, is the main character, and he's saying, you gooks, and he couldn't say gooks anymore. He couldn't get away with that shit. Now it's like, oh my God. Unless you're like Quentin Tarantino or something, somebody you have enough clout where you can actually, or even fucking Martin Scorsese, Wolf of Wall Street. They say stuff, and he's derogatory in that movie a lot, and stuff that you just couldn't get away with dude. These producers I know, they'd be their first notes be like, dude, you can't talk bad about throwing dwarves. You can't, that'd be the first fucking notes. It's like, well, that's kind of what happened. That's how they did that, and that frustrates me, man.
They're not going to have World War II movies with Nazis anymore. They'll just go ahead and cut that out completely. They'll have like how instead. Exactly. Or
even the Wonder Woman movie where it's World War I and they try to make the Germans out like they're Nazis. Before there was even Nazis ever. Like they would just want to make it to where they were as bad. It's like that's not kind of really how it happened back then. They weren't really Nazis back then yet. But yeah, I don't know. But that's kind of why I tried it. That's why it's easier and less frustrating for me to just make short movies and just have a fucking job or do whatever I do, hustles to make money or whatever, and use that to pay to make what I want to do and not worry about having to, get your financiers back, or worry about having to be popular, or I don't know. I mean, I know that's very limiting, like, as far as the scope of your movie you can make, but I don't know. I'm trying to find that middle ground somewhere.
Well, I think you're limited anyway, unless you've kind of gotten lucky. I mean, you do have to get lucky, I assume.
Yeah, you have to. I don't. The past couple of years, there hasn't been that many great movies. Like movie like Snowpiercer, I love a lot, or like Old Boy, or The Raid, or something like that. Or The Green Room, I love that a lot. There hasn't been that many great movies, and so I don't even think it's luck anymore. I think, as far as your movie being successful, I think it's just a matter of finding people, working hard enough to get it done, to like wanting to put your nose to the grindstone and tell that story so bad, that you'll work and put 2 years of your life in there to tell that story, rather than just bending a little bit and making it a little bit more easier for all the big audiences, which is what people do when they cast like a white dude as the main guy in some movie about Egypt or something, and they complain about it or whatever, and so that leads to them casting a token black guy into every movie or whatever, and then you get a movie like, what was the black horror movie with the Get Out?
Get Out. Yeah.
It's like that movie. That's an all right movie. It's all right, but I think people made it out like it was way better in a classic just because the way it handled the subject matter, or even almost in a I don't know, man. I feel like I have to fucking watch what I say, even like doing this kind of like talking like little
Dude,
audiences.
That's why I don't post anything on. I won't post anything on my own personal social media unless I know damn sure it's not going to offend somebody, because I don't feel like arguing with people. It just pisses me off. So I use our Travis and Vic page, and that's it.
Well, I mean, it's almost like affirmative action filmmaking, That's more offensive to me than anything, Fuck. That makes it worse, That doesn't make the movies better. That doesn't make the story better, where you feel like you have to put an Asian guy in here and a woman guy here and a woman here and this and that. It's like that's, it's your story. I don't know. I guess if you're doing like $100 million fucking big ass comic book movies, and you need to think about that shit. But for little indies under $1 million, I don't think that should come into it at all. It should be more realistic or something. Like I have a legit awesome fucking script, but it really is realistic. It's like a dude going through a gang, and the gang happens to be all black guys, because that's the way reality is here in Jacksonville with most of the gangs, or I could change it, they could be all Mexicans, and that would still be reality, but you're not going to have like one dude black, one dude Mexican, one dude Asian, one woman kind of leader in the gang, and then the white dude, it's just not how it is, man. If you were going to go try to find out who's selling drugs to someone, you drive to the north side here in Jacksonville, and you're looking for people, you're going to see black dudes on the street, and it's just, that's the way it is. Fuck, but I don't want to have that. I don't even want to have that fight. Like you're saying, it's not worth it to me right now. I'd rather just work my ass off and spend 5 months shooting on the weekends, and then be able to maybe tell a good story. I don't know. We're not talking about Danny Rollins much. Thank you for that, man. I'm so tired of Danny Rollins, man, like years and years of Danny Rollins, and trying to get in his head and trying to figure him out, and then everybody asks, it's just it got so old, man. Some of the stuff's pretty cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wanted to spend an hour with you just talking about a little bit about the Gainesville Ripper, and then, I'll cover Danny Rolling on my own, because I know you've said whatever needs to be said at this point about him,
Yeah, it's just, well, Danny, he wasn't that smart, so he's not like as interesting too. Like Ted Bundy was really smart, and he's really interesting. Mm-hmm. Like you could talk about him working at rape crisis centers, about escaping from jail, escaping from the courthouse. I mean, he did some crazy shit, and it's weird. Bundy ended up fucking in Lake City. He got caught in Lake City, like 30 minutes north of Gainesville. So I think that's also like people are traumatized in Gainesville from Bundy. Like I remember being a kid And my mom showed me the newspaper at the grocery store where it showed Bundy was dead. You know, he was all shaved because he got electrocuted or whatever. So, but yeah, I don't know. Gainesville's really